the staircase or the hall door, and consequently nothing short of leaving the house or of pulling it down. Both of these solutions are not always practicable, will free us absolutely from the unwelcome presence. There is something so natural and at the same time so unnatural in seeing a door open when we know that no human hand rests on the knob, or in hearing the sound of footsteps, light or heavy, and feeling that it cannot be attributed to the feet of mortal man or woman. Or perhaps a form appears in a room, standing, sitting, or walking, in fact, situated in its three dimensions apparently as an ordinary being of flesh and blood, until it proves its unearthly nature by vanishing before our astonished eyes. Or perhaps we are asleep in bed. The room is shrouded in she appeared was 10 years ago. My husband and I had just returned from a concert at which he had been singing, and we sat for some time over supper talking about the events of the evening. When at last I rose to leave the room and opened the dining room door, I found my old lady standing on the mat outside with her head bent towards the door in the attitude of listening. I called out loudly, and my husband rushed to my side. That was the last time I have seen her. One peculiarity of this spectral visitant was a strong objection to disorder or untidiness of any kind, or even to an alteration in the general routine of the house. For instance, she showed her disapproval of any stranger coming to sleep by turning the chairs face downwards on the floor in the room they were to occupy. I well remember one of our guests having gone to his room one evening for something he had forgotten, remarking on coming downstairs again, "Well, you people have an extraordinary manner of arranging your furniture. I have nearly broken my bones over one of the bedroom chairs which was turned down on the floor." As my husband and I had restored that chair twice already to its proper position during the day, we were not much surprised at his remarks, although we did not enlighten him. The whole family have been disturbed by a peculiar knocking which occurred in various rooms in the house, frequently on the door or wall, but sometimes on the furniture, quite close to where we had been sitting. This was evidently loud enough to be heard in the next house, for our next-door neighbour once asked my husband why he selected such curious hours for hanging his pictures. Another strange and fairly frequent occurrence was the following. I had got a set of skunk furs, which I fancied had an unpleasant odour, as this fur sometimes has, and at night I used to take it from my wardrobe and lay it on a chair in the drawing room, which was next to my bedroom. The first time I did this, on going to the drawing room, I found, to my surprise, my muff in one corner and my stool in another. dressed himself as quickly as possible, walked home, and never again slept a night in that schoolroom. The following tale, sent by Mr. E.B. de Lacy, contains a most extraordinary and unsatisfactory element of mystery. He says, "When I was a boy, I lived in the suburbs and used to come in every morning to school in the city. My way lay through a certain street in which stood a very dismal semi-detached house, which, I might say, was closed up regularly about every 6 months. I would see new tenants coming into it, and then in a few months it would be to let again. This went on for 8 or 9 years, and I often wondered what was the reason. On inquiring one day from a friend, I was told that it had the reputation of being haunted. A few years later, I entered business in a certain office, and one day it fell to my lot to have to call on the lady who at that particular period was the tenant of the haunted house. When we had transacted our business, she informed me that she was about to leave. Knowing the reputation of the house, and being desirous of investigating a ghost story, I asked her if she would give me the history of the house as far as she knew it, which she very kindly did as follows. About 40 years ago, the house was left by will to a gentleman named Redacted. He lived in it for a short time when he suddenly went mad and had to be put in an asylum. Upon this, his agents let the house to a lady. Apparently, nothing unusual happened for some time, but a few months later, as she went down one morning to a room behind the kitchen, she found the cook hanging by a rope attached to a hook in the ceiling. After the inquest, the lady gave up the house. It was then closed up for some time, but was again advertised to let, and a caretaker, a woman, was put into it. One night, about 1 o'clock, a constable going his rounds heard someone calling for help from the house, and found the caretaker on the sill of one of the windows, holding on as best she could. He told her to go in and open the whole door and let him in, but she refused to enter the room again. He forced open the door and succeeded in dragging the woman back into the room, only to find she had gone mad. Again, the house was shut up, and again it was let, this time to a lady on a 5-year lease. However, after a few months' residence, she locked it up and went away. On her friends asking why she did so, she replied that she would rather pay the whole 5 years' rent than live in it herself, or allow anyone else to do so, but would give no other reason. I believe I was the next person to take this house, said the lady who narrated the story to me, i.e. Mr. de Lacy. I took it about 18 months ago on a 3-year lease in the hopes of making money by taking in boarders, but I am now giving it up because none of them will stay more than a week or 2. They do not give any definite reason as to why they are leaving. They are careful to state that it is not because they have any fault to find with me or my domestic arrangements, but they merely say they do not like the rooms. The rooms themselves, as you can see, are good, spacious, and well lighted. I have had all classes of professional men. One of the last was a barrister, and he said that he had no fault to find except that he did not like the rooms. I myself do not believe in ghosts, and I have never seen anything strange here or elsewhere, and if I had known the house had the reputation of being haunted, I would never have rented it. Marsha's must relate the story of an extraordinary ghost, somewhat lacking in good manners, yet not without a certain distorted sense of humor. Absolutely incredible though the tale may seem, yet it comes on very good authority. It was related to our informant, Mr. D, by a Mrs. C, whose daughter he had employed as governess. Mrs. C, who is described as a woman of respectable position and good education, heard it in her turn from her father and mother. In the story, the relationship of the different persons seems a little involved, but it would appear that the initial A belongs to the surname both of Mrs. C's father and grandfather. This ghost was commonly called Corny by the family, and he answered to this, though it was not his proper name. He disclosed this latter to Mr. C's mother, who forgot it. Corny made his presence manifest to the A family shortly after they had gone to reside in a redacted street in the following manner. Mr. A had sprained his knee badly and had to use a crutch, which at night was left at the head of his bed. One night his wife heard someone walking on the lobby, thump, 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 as if imitating Mr. A. She struck a match to see if the crutch had been removed from the head of the bed, but it was still there. From then on, Corny commenced to talk, and he spoke every day from his usual habitat, the coal cellar of the kitchen. His voice sounded as if it came out of an empty barrel. He was very troublesome and continually played practical jokes on the servants, who, as might be expected, were in terror of their lives of him, so much so that Mrs. A could hardly induce them to stay with her. They used to sleep in a press bed in the kitchen, and in order to get away from Corny, they asked for a room at the top of the house, which was given to them. Accordingly, the press bed was moved up there. The first night they went to retire to bed after the change, the doors of the press were flung open, and Corny's voice said, "Ha, ha, you devils, I am here before you. I am not confined to any particular part of this house." One day a servant was preparing fish for dinner. She laid it on the kitchen table while she went elsewhere for something she wanted. One day a servant was preparing fish for dinner. She laid it on the kitchen table while she went elsewhere for something she wanted. When she returned, the fish had disappeared. She thereupon began to cry, fearing that she would be accused of making away with it. The next thing she heard was the voice of Corny from the coal cellar saying, "There, you blubbering fool, is your fish for you." And, suiting the action to the word, the fish was thrown out on the kitchen floor. Relatives from the country used to bring presents of vegetables, and these were often hung up by Corny like Christmas decorations round the kitchen. There was one particular press in the kitchen he would not allow anything into. He would throw it out again. A crock with meat in pickle was put into it, and a fish placed on the cover of the crock. He threw the fish out. Silver teaspoons were missing, and no account of them could be got until Mrs. A asked Corny to confess if he had done anything with them. He said, "They are under the ticking in the servant's bed." He had, so he said, a daughter in redacted street, and sometimes announced that he was going to see her and would not be here tonight. On one occasion he announced that he was going to have company that evening, and if they wanted any water out of the soft water tank to take it before going to bed, was ink, and not alone that, but the bread and butter in the pantry were streaked with the marks of sooty fingers. A clergyman in the locality, having heard of the doings of Corny, called to investigate the matter. He was advised by Mrs. A to keep quiet and not to reveal his identity, as being the best chance of hearing Corny speak. He waited a long time, and as the capricious Corny remained silent, he left at length. The servants asked, "Corny, why did you not speak?" And he replied, "I could not speak while that good man was in the house." The servants sometimes used to ask him where he was. He would reply, "The great God would not permit me to tell you. I was a bad man, and I died of the death." He named the room in the house in which he died. Corny constantly joined in any conversation carried on by the people of the house. One could never tell when a voice from the coal cellar would erupt into the dialogue. He had his likes and dislikes. He appeared to dislike anyone that was not afraid of him and would not talk to them. Mrs. C's mother, however, used to get good of him by coaxing. An uncle, having failed to get him to speak one night, took the kitchen poker and hammered at the door of the coal cellar, saying, "I'll make you speak," but Corny wouldn't. Next morning the poker was found broken in two. This uncle used to wear spectacles, and Corny used to call him derisively Four Eyes. An uncle named Richard came to sleep one night and complained in the morning that the clothes were pulled off him. Corny told the servants in great glee, "I slept on Master Richard's feet all night." Finally, Mr. A made several attempts to dispose of his lease, but with no success, for when intending purchasers were being shown over the house and arrived at Corny's domain, the spirit would begin to speak, and the would-be purchaser would fly. They asked him if they changed the house, would he trouble them? He replied, "No, but if they throw down this house, I will trouble the stones." At last, Mrs. A appealed to him to keep quiet and not to injure people who had never injured him. He promised that he would do so, and then said, "Mrs. A, you will be all right for now, for I see a lady in black coming up the street to this house, and she will buy it." Within half an hour, a widow called and purchased the house. Possibly Corny is still there, for our informant looked up the directory as he was writing and found the house marked vacant. Near Blanchardstown, County Dublin, is a house occupied at present, or up to very recently, by a private family. It was formerly a monastery, and there are said to be secret passages in it. Once a servant ironing in the kitchen saw the figure of a nun approach the kitchen window and look in. Our informant was also told by a friend, now dead, who had it from the lady of the house, that once night falls, no doors can be kept closed. If anyone shuts them, almost immediately they are flung open again with the greatest violence and apparent anger. If left open, there is no trouble or noise, but light footsteps are heard, and there is a vague feeling of people passing to and fro. The persons inhabiting the house are matter-of-fact, unimaginative people who speak of this as if shore.